first time I saw such a cruel mother. At this moment she is combing her daughter's hair. After she finished weaving the braid, slowly circled her daughter's neck. Then she suddenly strangled her daughter's neck with force. No matter how hard her daughter struggled, the mother also looked as if nothing had happened, until the daughter did not move before slowly let go. What is the grudge? This mother to do this poison. The mother's name is Linda. From the far north, she had a man who loved her very much. They lived a nomadic hunting life. One day Linda came back from a trip alone. She found the house terribly quiet. She went into the tent and called out, but no one answered. She lifted the blanket to see. She found that everyone in the family had had their throats slit. Linda was so scared that she backed up. She scrambled out of the tent. That's when she heard the commotion outside. She cautiously hid behind the tent and peeked out, but she saw her lover tied to a stake. Linda tried to rush to his rescue, but the lovely man shook his head. She told Linda not to come any closer. Only then did Linda realize that someone was nearby. She had to hide in the back and didn't dare to make a sound. Before Linda could think of a solution, she saw a soldier walking towards her lover. He slit his throat. Linda watched as her husband was killed. She couldn't stop the tears from flowing. That's when a soldier noticed Linda. Linda tried to sneak away but was stopped by the soldier. How can a weak woman escape the clutches of a man? And sure enough, Linda was caught. The soldier didn't kill Linda. Instead, he humiliated her. Afterwards, Linda went to her lover's side, broken-hearted. As she was disposing of her lover's body, accidentally found a knife in his hand. It turned out that her husband had been saving himself. Unfortunately, he was killed before the rope could be cut. Linda hid the knife in a panic. At that moment, the sound of a child crying came from the tent. Linda ran into the tent to check. She picked up the child who had lost her mother and father. Linda saw how pathetic she was. She decided to adopt her. Outside the tent, the soldiers were about to leave, but they were lost. So they threatened Linda with the baby and asked her to lead the way. So that's why the soldiers didn't kill Linda. In order to survive and avenge her family's death, Linda had to agree. The next day Linda took the soldiers and set off. They traveled through the icebergs. Linda walked in front of the group with the baby in her arms. They were tied together with ropes in case they all got lost. Linda was a smart woman. As they walked along the edge of the cliff, she saw her chance, pulled out the knife she'd hidden earlier, cut the rope without a sound. Then, with a strong pull, the soldiers fell off the cliff one by one. However, one of the soldiers at the end hooked on the edge of the cliff with a hook. He didn't fall yet. This soldier looked at Linda with a pleading look, but Linda did not move. Soon after, the soldiers all fell off the cliff. Linda also finally avenged her family. Time passed quickly. Linda's adopted child grew to adulthood. She named the child Anna. To escape from the war, Linda took Anna to live in the land of the icebergs. But in this place of scarcity, how can they survive snow and ice? Linda sharpened her knife and slowly came out of the tent. She quickly grabbed a wolf dog. She put the knife to the dog's neck. She saw the blood flowing out like a fountain. To survive, Linda had to do it. At night, Linda told her daughter that it was venison, but Anna ate it and cried. In such an environment, how could there be other animals? Anna knew it was the dog she had. Linda comforted her with a cold, but she had no choice. That day there was artillery fire in the distance. The war was about to spread to their place of residence. Mother and daughter had to move again. The two set off in a boat to the colder north. A few days later, they arrived on an island in the middle of nowhere. Because of the war, they had changed places more than they knew. The next day Linda went out to check the terrain. She found a figure in the distance, but then he suddenly fell to the ground. Linda cautiously moved closer to see. It was a man. He was unconscious. Due to the war, Linda's vigilance was always on. She searched the man's body for anything useful. Just as she was about to leave, the man suddenly pulled at her feet. He pleaded for help in a faint voice, and then he passed out again. Linda couldn't bear to see him freeze to death in the middle of nowhere, so she saved him back. That's when her daughter came back from hunting. Outside the tent, she heard the man coughing. She was instantly alerted. She walked into the tent with her shotgun. Scared, she saw her mother was also there. Only then did she feel relieved, since her daughter had never seen a man since she was a child, so she was curious about the man in front of her. Suddenly the man woke up. he introduced himself faintly. It turned out that he was brought here by force to reclaim the wilderness. He couldn't stand the torture and ran away secretly. Soon after, under the care of the mother and daughter, the man's body also recovered. One day the mother and daughter went out hunting. The man also followed them. They got into a rickety old boat together. The three of them went to the glacier land. They managed to kill a seal. At the end of the day, they gathered around and ate raw meat. As the raw meat was very bloody, the man took the raw meat and put it on a tree branch and roasted it over the fire. This act aroused the curiosity of the mother and daughter. They had never seen such a way of eating before. After the meal, the man took out his radio and taught Anna how to use it. The days passed quickly. They hunted during the day. At night they ate meat, and so they spent some time together. However, three people's hearts also have a different emotion, but they didn't know. This man was about to turn mother and daughter against each other. In the tent, the three of them are lying in the same bed. The man and Anna are playing poker. Crashes and moans are heard. The mother, who is hiding, is getting twisted inside. The man she likes is being taken away from her by her daughter. How can a mother accept this? However, this happened. It all started on that night. That night, while Anna was working outside, began to make advances on her mother Linda. Because of the war, Linda had never touched a man again. At a time like this, when someone was soothing her heart, of course she didn't refuse. But when the man was about to kiss Linda, Anna, who was watching from outside the tent, came in as if nothing had happened. Not only was Anna not embarrassed, she even let the man brush her hair on purpose. Because Anna also liked this man, Linda was so helpless, she had to turn around and go over. In fact, Linda also liked this man, only because of her low self-esteem, so she didn't know how to express her love. Although the man at first made advances to Linda, but with Anna's various initiatives, he and Anna's feelings are getting deeper and deeper. One day Anna and the man were making out in the tent. Linda immediately came out of the tent. She could only stand at a distance and watch. After that, Anna became even more aggressive in front of Linda, the two of them doing some indescribable things. These actions irritated Linda even more. Linda decided to start fighting back. One day the man shot a deer and returned. Linda ate fresh venison, as if those unpleasant things are forgotten. But the next scene made Anna turn against her. Linda kept leaning towards the man as she ate. She stopped and kissed the man directly on the face. Anna was stunned when she saw it. The next day, Anna told Linda that she and the man were going to leave. Told Linda. The news came as a bolt from the blue for Linda. The next day, the man and Anna discussed the time of departure. Without giving Linda any time to breathe, Anna then began to pack her bags. However, she didn't care if her mother agreed or not. She took half of the food and supplies with her. Anna asked her mother if she would leave with them, but she didn't say a word because she knew that Anna would never take her away. Her eyes were filled with helplessness and despair. After the silence, she exploded. While the men were out hunting, Linda offered to braid Anna's hair one last time. Anna thought it was her mother's last goodbye to her. Unaware that this was the end of her life, Linda brutally strangled Anna with her hair and cut off Anna's face little by little with a knife. The whole process was as inhuman as her chopping dog meat. Then she washed her own face and put Anna's still warm skin on her own face. Then she put on Anna's clothes again. She dressed up as Anna and waited for the man to come back. But it was late at night when he came back. In the darkness, she thought it was Anna lying on the bed. He couldn't wait to undress. He jumped on her and made out with her. In the blur, the man seemed to see both Linda's and Anna's faces. Suddenly the man touched her face. He ripped off a piece of her face. The man was so scared that he ran out of the tent naked. In the freezing weather, the only sound heard was the man's mournful howl. But inside the tent, Linda was shaking and crying. If the man had not been saved, mother and daughter would not have come to this point. What is human nature? In such a dire situation is to live. But the man's choice showed her despair. Her own blood could not flow in her adopted daughter's body. Her lust and dreams were taken away from her by her adopted daughter. To live is so painful that she can't go on living without tomorrow. Maybe if there was just one more man, and the world would be at peace.